Who's wrong and who's wronger? In this corner, followed by millions, James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell. And in that corner, ignored by millions, Steve Dash Rinko Leavers.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wrong and Wronger, and I can't begin to tell you how poor of a choice you've made by being here today, but you are about to find out. I am Steve, Dr. Steve. I can't believe I'm with James Olivas, and he is James. I can't believe I'm with Steve Breakwell, saying thanks for being here. And James, man, how are you doing today?
I, unlike you, am doing terrific. I got grilled. People don't. Our two listeners don't understand what an experience it is to answer the phone when Steve Olivas calls. He will instantly judge my mood and character and everything else about me by the way I say hello when I answer the phone. There's no escaping it. Yeah, you just everything. So anyway. We are recording this at the last minute, squeezing it in between his 95 appointments a day. Spur of the moment, I actually should be feeding my children right now, but I said, no, kids, you can wait to eat for 25 minutes because I have to talk to Steve, because that is the priority I put on this podcast.
Right. Grown-ups are talking. Kids,
yes.
Be quiet. Yes.
But I actually...
Oh,
go ahead.
This is the podcast where we talk about topics every week, and topical topics they are. They are so topical, James. We're going to have a production meeting on the fly right now.
Yes, so this actually came up in a message to somebody who's actually my friend while I was waiting for you to call. So somebody I actually wanted to hear from. And anyway, it's a bit of a mystery and a conundrum, and I thought, you know what, this needs to be unpacked. So my friend is going to have to report back to the office very soon after working from home. And as part of their new, modern, updated, working sensibilities, they are now going to allow a controversial clothing item that was previously and explicitly banned. Now, would you like to take a guess at what article of men's clothing was previously banned that now, in the post-pandemic era, is okay?
And just for the sake of clarity, it is actual, textile clothing?
Yes, it is textile clothing.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like a nose ring or something like that?
No, nothing like that.
Okay. I have two guesses.
Okay, go ahead.
One is like a ball cap, a hat.
Okay.
And the other has got to be like shorts.
Okay. You are way, way off. This is what blew my mind. For 90% of people in an office, this is like the staple. This is what I wore to the office every day for 10 years. Khakis. Khakis were previously forbidden. They could not wear khaki. Yeah, khaki pants. It blew my mind. It was like, that is the staple of business casual. That is like the formal business wear for most men in America. And here, it was too scandalous. So I just thought we could just dive into the logic, see if we could figure out why maybe khakis are this corrupting influence and why maybe it's okay to have them now. I guess
Jake from State Farm wears them, so they've got to be okay.
And he's the ultimate professional. But I guess we'll start with you. What do you think is the corrupting influence of khakis? How is it leading our modern workforce astray?
Boy, Jake changed colors on us, by the way, too, which was sort of a strange move on the marketing department of State Farm. Was it State Farm?
Are you sure? Are you sure both characters are Jake, or they didn't give the second character a different name since it's obviously a different person?
Well, you saying that makes me question it. But if you'd have asked me a minute ago, I would have said I'm certain it's Jake.
Are all State Farm employees just Jake to you? Is that where we're going with
yes,
this?
Yes, they all look alike to me, James. Absolutely. I have outliers homogeneity syndrome. But or outgroup homogeneity. I don't know. It's been a while since I've taken a psych class. Does your friend work at like Smith Barney or Goldman Sachs or something?
No, nothing that prestigious. I don't want to out them, but they're not like, it's not like a top tier firm where like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
would, it's not the kind of place where you have to wear a suit. Like it's the kind of place I would assume, and they don't interact with the public necessarily. They just interact with each other. So it's the kind of place that I would assume just standard business casual would apply. But it was business casual minus khakis.
Wow. Is this a large, like over 60 employees kind of business?
Yes.
Huh. I wonder if, so that implies it's, I wonder if the boss man, and I say man on purpose there, I wonder if the boss man is sort of old school and this is the way the boss sort of came up in the business, and therefore that is what, this is usually a guy thing, I think, and that's sort of what he wants as a template going forward in his business. Like it makes him feel comfortable, that kind of thing.
I just love the mentality that it's like, okay, if you're wearing blue pants, you're serious. If you're wearing black pants, you're serious. If you're wearing khaki pants, you're up to no good. Like your mind is just anywhere. You're basically just a beach bum or a surfer dude or whatever the stereotype is of a bad person from the 1950s. Is like somehow you are unfocused and out of control if you have sand-colored pants. But blue or black pants, you've got it together. You're an upstanding citizen.
All right, hold on. There's a line that moves here. Would you say, James Breakwell, I did the German on you there. Would you say, James Breakwell, when you're wearing a tuxedo, you have a different mindset than when you're wearing board shorts and flip-flops?
Actually, that's a really odd example to pick because the only time I wear a tuxedo is if I'm going to a wedding where I'm in the wedding party and I'm going there to get plastered. So actually, I am at my least professional when I wear a tuxedo.
All right, well, take that in the spirit rather than the letter of the example. If you're wearing a suit and tie, do you carry yourself differently and think differently than if you're wearing board shorts and flip-flops?
Once again, only weddings, only getting drunk, the more dressed up I am.
I am
the
asking
worst.
the wrong human being.
Yes. Well, you know what? I don't think you are because I don't think you wear suits and ties for anything other than the weddings either.
Well, that's not true, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I think I wear the most uncomfortable formal wear for the funnest occasions, and then I just make a mess of everything. I guess the only other situation where I'd wear it is at a funeral, but if it's a Catholic funeral, that's kind of a party too. I mean, we turn everything into a party.
Yeah,
we're a fun bunch. What do you want from me?
Yeah, you bring a covered dish. Yeah. Maybe it is more of it. I will bet that the CEO or whoever the president of the company is a guy in his 60s, maybe 50s, and this is the way that guy would like his business to be run. Because the khaki pants, you're picking out color as the differentiating variable. And I'm saying there's also a material difference insofar as what you accessorize khakis with is going to be different and more casual, leading to a different mindset, perhaps, than what you accessorize slacks or trousers with.
Well, khaki can be a color and it can be a cut of pants, but I don't know, is it actually a material too? Or is it just the style and the color?
Well, it's not wool. Like, I don't think you have khaki colored suits unless you go back to like 1960.
Remember when Obama wore a tan suit one time to one press conference and it made news headlines for like 3 days?
I do. Yeah. Well, and the first ladies have that same pressure. Like they have to be sort of between the white and the yellow in a conservative way when they choose their pantsuits, their polyester pantsuits to wear.
Yeah, I mean, it's a high stakes world, but I think, and again, I am a connoisseur of khaki pants and have a wide variety of them in my closet. Now, when I upgraded my wardrobe a while back, right before the world shut down, I replaced a lot of them, but I guess the modern cut is like chinos. They're not even called khakis anymore. So I don't know if this ban would actually, if it just covers specific khaki pants, or if the fashion police come to arrest you or throw you out and fire you, if you could say, wait, these aren't khakis, these are chinos, we're good. And chinos are like hipper khakis, and that's the only way I know how to describe them, because they're somehow different than khakis, but yet look remarkably the same.
I'm interested in this. I think the inclination with khaki pants, whatever you want to call the cut, it's not the color necessarily, but you are inclined to wear like we call them dock shoes, whatever the boat shoes are, and a polo shirt with it. And the boss might want shirt and tie, even if there's no jacket required. So wants like slacks. But as I was thinking that through, only halfway listening to you, and by the way, if you wear khakis all the time, this might be exactly why the boss wants everyone to wear slacks. They don't want everyone going James Breakwell, because that would be lack of control. But I'm wearing a tie right now with a shirt, and yet I've got sort of khaki-esque. They're black, but they're sort of made out of the same material. I'm going to cough again.
So unprofessional.
Made out of the same material and kind of cut the... Yeah, I know. This is what they teach in broadcasting school. Made out of the same material and sort of cut the same with pleats in the front like khakis. So I pull off the khaki pant-looking pants with a shirt and tie. So why can't everybody do that? Maybe it's just people's inclination. It's got to have something to do with mindset and not aesthetic.
It gave me flashbacks to going to my Catholic high school where they had a dress code. And again, so in grade school we had a specific uniform, which was actually wonderful because you just wear the same stupid thing every day. Nobody can judge you because they're wearing the exact same stupid thing as you are. Takes all the choice out of it. It was the simplest thing in the world. You went to high school and they gave you just slightly more freedom. There was no like uniform. There was just a super restrictive dress code, and then you had to find things that fit within it. So you had to wear like a polo shirt, and you had to wear khakis, which were good enough for us lowbrow Catholics back then. You didn't have to wear the dress pants, but you had to have a belt. I remember that. And so there was a power change halfway through high school, but early on, there were some people who were rather strict at the top, and you had to have a belt. Like, it was required, whether or not it was needed to hold up your pants. And one particular teacher would stand there with the tension slips as you walked out of the gym, just looking to see who might be slipping by without a belt. And
I hate people like that.
And you had to have your shirt tucked in. And I don't even think it was a formal dress thing. I think it was just they could see if you had a belt on or not. Which again, you didn't even need. They were the same people who required you to lock your lockers, and some people would like push the lock up a little bit so it hung up there but wasn't actually locked. And this same teacher would walk up and down the lockers pulling on them to see if you had fake locked your locker.
Dang,
yes.
how empty is their life?
So when I have nightmares now at the age of 36, it's not about raising kids, it's not about getting fired or my book's not selling or getting canceled on the internet. My nightmares are about that year or two of high school when those people were in power who checked for belts and locked lockers. That's how much stress was on my life at that time. And that's what this khaki pants rule reminds me of. Like if I saw that at a place of business, I'd be like, oh, khaki pants now allowed. It's like, what else is still not allowed? And what does that say about your culture, how uptight you are? Like, I don't think I could work at a place like that.
It's a generational thing for sure, because my father would say, well, now he's an accountant, like everyone wore suits to the office when he worked for, who did he work for? It was one of the big ones. Might have been Arthur Anderson for a while. But anyway, that wearing anything other than a suit and tie was blasphemy. And then in my generation, we're sort of a hybrid where I don't mind dressing up and I don't mind dressing down. And in your generation, you're like, pound sand, boomer. I ain't doing, you rage against the machine, and you people will dye your hair all different colors and get aggressive piercings in your face and neck tattoos and say, you got to accept me the way I am. And I don't know when the shift happened, but it is a generational thing, which is why I believe whoever runs the company is of that older, like the generation even behind me.
Yeah, I think this company is going to be hurting, though. So first of all, the fact that they're, after, a year and a half of letting people work from home, the fact that they're making them come back at all is definitely going to cost them employees. And I think the companies that are doing that are the ones that are run by boomers who are like, I just need to see your face. And it's like, why? Are you going to sit there and grope it all day? Like, what do you need to see my face for? No, I mean, it's like, I need to just feel the bumps on your skull. Like, what are you doing? Why do you need...
Phrenology, yes.
Why do you need to see somebody's face to take care of any business in 2021? If you can do it on the internet, if you you can do it on phone, if you can do it by Zoom, like worst case scenario, if you can do it by Zoom, even Zoom is unnecessary. The video element is totally redundant. Doesn't need to be in there. But I mean, okay, so you're going to see this like, well, I have to go in there 3 days a week or 5 days a week or whatever they require them to go back. And but now I can wear khaki pants because they're a hip and cool place. Like, they're just gonna nope out of there. It reminds me of the other thing, other than my traumatizing school experience. It reminds me of when I was picking colleges, and there was one that was going to give me a bunch of scholarship money. And we were looking through. I was like, well, all right, that seems interesting. It was a different Christian denomination, which I didn't care about because I'm not super religious to start with. And but my dad was reading through the rules, and it said, shorts allowed after 5 p.m. So it's phrased just like this khaki pants rule, like, oh, now you can wear khakis. Like, wait a minute. You can wear shorts after 5 p.m.? So you mean all day you've got to wear pants? Like, what? Why? Is it, do my shin bones offend God, but only, on normal daylight hours after twilight, anything goes?
Yours do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my shins are pretty, aggressive. I can see that. And then we read through, and it was just kind of symptomatic of the whole thing. So then we started actually digging into the rules, the terms and conditions that I would normally ignore before signing a life-changing contract. And it was like, you had to go. You didn't have to go to their religious services every day, but every day you didn't go, you got fined like $20. And when you did, that kind of place, like, holy cow.
Do they turn the money straight over to God, or how does that work? Where does that go?
He used it for his anti-shorts war fund as he's just waging the good crusade.
How empty are these people's lives?
I don't know. And I mean, they probably have, it's probably a college full of the people like that teacher who was, looking for belts, just like on a higher level. But I think the older you get, the less tolerance you have for rules and just kind of the, the ticky-tack stuff like that. I can't even imagine trying to police college kids. You're on your own. You have freedom for the first time in your life. You're someplace where there's like professors making sure you're wearing pants and, oh man, that place, that I guess it's a good training ground for the company where khaki pants are pushing the fashion envelope. I guess they're one and the same.
These ridiculous arbitrary rules remind me of some of the blue laws that I never ran into until traveling in the South. And there are some places still where if you can't buy alcohol on Sundays, I'm sort of okay with that. Like, it's cordoning off the Lord's Day. But the one that really got to me, I was trying to buy beer on the road somewhere in like rural Georgia or something. And I was trying to buy beer at 11:45, and they couldn't sell beer till noon. And I remember punishing the poor teenage girl behind the register, having a discourse on how is it that we're going to hell at 11:47, but we're not going to hell at 12:01? Because I asked why the rule was there, and she said, well, it's, I think, so you can go to church Sunday morning. They don't want you buying beer. So we did have an entire sort of an ecclesiastical discussion of the utility of forcing people to wait until the crack of noon to be able to purchase a six-pack of beer. It makes no sense. It's arbitrary lines in sand that just make people who want power because their lives are empty to feel good about lording something over another human being.
Oh man, those Sunday alcohol laws get me fired up. Okay, so I'm a big fan of Indiana. I've chosen to live here now, but I'm not an Indiana native, and for the most part, I agree with everything Indiana's doing. Usually, and I probably shouldn't say like somebody's going to find something ridiculous like you support this, huh? And then I'm going to get driven off the internet. But anyway,
yeah.
Usually, for the most part, it's okay. But for the longest time, for most of my time here, they had a rule that you couldn't buy alcohol on Sundays, which just drove me crazy because somehow the one day of the week I'd run out of alcohol would always be Sunday. And their law is just so misplaced. They're like, well, they're like, it's not a religious thing, which is how it stands up to court scrutiny. But it's like, well, how come the day you ban alcohol sales isn't like Tuesday? If you were forbidding alcohol sales on Tuesday, I don't think anybody would complain. They just do their grocery shopping on Monday. But like on the weekend, on football day, it's like, okay, the game's on at 3, and you check your fridge. You're like, oh no, I only have one beer left. Better go out and get more. Oh, wait, I can't. There's no church service at 3 p.m. It's ridiculous. If you really want to make sure people get to church on Sunday, you should ban alcohol sales on Saturday, which is when they get drunk and then hung over. Like they're off by a day. And they finally changed it. I think you can buy it after noon now or something, but it's the same stupid thing. It's like, why is there a limit at all? You have to remember, I grew up in Illinois where the liquor store stores have drive-throughs. Like, that's how badly they want you to get alcohol. You don't have to get out of your car. We'll just hand you to you in your vehicle, but don't drink it in there. But you can go one step further. If you go to Missouri, Missouri is a magical place where you can have, and again, I've never looked this up, but my understanding is this is the law, is that you can have one less open container than you have people in the car. So if you've got a group of 4, you can have 3 open containers in the vehicle driving around, and as long as one of those doesn't belong to the driver, you're good. It's insane and magical at the same time. Never change, Missouri. Never change.
Have you heard? I believe this is true, and so I will at least give that little proviso. I'm not positive, but in Louisiana, they have drive-through. You can get like a cup of margarita or daiquiri or something, but they have to scotch tape the straw to the side of the cup because if they put the straw in the cup, that would imply you're going to drink it while you're driving. If they scotch tape it to the side of the cup, obviously you're going to wait until you reach your destination before you have to undo that Chinese finger trap.
They do stuff like that here too, where they'll put it in a sealed package somehow to show that you're not drinking it on the way home. And again, you're probably not. I mean, again, I don't live in that far of a place. Like, there's no place I drive back from. It's like I need to drink this minute. I can't wait the 2 minutes till I get home. I think that would be the clear line where yes, I have a problem. Like, I have to get it in my system at this very moment. And then you get the interesting laws are open container laws. Like, can you walk around with a beverage outside? And it all depends on like what's enforced. So when the Super Bowl rolled through Indianapolis, they're like, oh yeah, everybody, you can drink outside. Indianapolis does not have an open container law, and for that weekend it was fine. But like any other time, realistically, you can't walk around with a bottle. But they're not going to get you for drinking during the day or whatever, drinking in the open. They're going to get you for public intoxication. Like, they'll get you for some other rule. Like, you will bring unwanted scrutiny upon yourself if you just walk around drinking in public. But technically, it's not a law that you can't.
Wow. Interesting. Well, it's all about when are you going to hell? And
Yes.
It's, I guess, for other people to decide when we're going to hell
Clearly.
and when we're not.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's good that they're looking out for us, but I mean, just imagine that being the line between heaven and hell. Like, it's you were gonna make it, you were doing good, and then you bought beer at 11:45 on a Sunday. What were you doing? I know you just come from mass, but you know what? 15 minutes too early, you're out of here. Kind of like being condemned for wearing shorts before 5 p.m. You put them on at 4:30 like a heathen, or you wear khaki pants to the workplace instead of the exact same material but blue or black. It's a good thing.
A young James Breakwell would stir sexual feelings in all of the co-eds if he wore shorts before 5 o'clock. Come on. I know the truth.
A current James Breakwell would stir sexual feelings. Let's be honest. I'm a good-looking man here, Steve, and you and I both know it.
I thought we were being honest. What's happening?
We're strong enough in our heterosexuality. We can admit that. We can admit we're both kind of attracted to me. It's okay.
It takes a big man to admit when he's right. All right.
It's a good thing.
Right.
It's a good thing we amuse ourselves because we don't amuse anybody else.
Yeah, that is the sad truth.
So,
all right. Well, all of that came out of Khaki's at the workplace.
I guess I'm curious. I know we're running out of time here, but what is the ratio of pants you own in terms of like khakis to non-khakis?
Well, my business is somewhat casual. I don't want to wear a suit and tie if I'm doing therapy. I do wear suits when I perform. Mostly,
I did not know that.
Just between you and me, it's to hide sweat. Because I sweat like Albert Brooks in broadcast news when I'm up there and it's hot and people are looking at me and I'm moving around doing my thing. So I purposefully buy suits that don't show sweat. Like, some suits you can sweat through. Well, hell, I sweat through all suits. Some suits you can see when you sweat through and some you can't. Now, being 60 pounds lighter, I might not sweat as much. I'm curious if I ever do go on the road, if I'm going to need some of that sweat-proof clothing for my suits. But the point is this. My pants, I don't have a lot of slacks kinds of pants. I have suits and I have sort of business casual, but I think I have one pair of slacks kinds of pants that that I always bring on the road with me as a backup in case something happens to my suit. So I also have one shirt that doesn't show sweat that I will wear with those pants if I have to go without a suit coat.
I love that sweating is such an issue for you that you have an emergency pair of clothing in case your first pair, starts on fire or something.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. When I first started performing, it was embarrassing. I was like, God dang, man, I don't know how to stop it. And so I just ended up not worrying about stopping it. I knew it to be the truth, and I adapted.
I would think the suit would make the sweating worse, though. You're just adding a layer.
It does.
So
It does,
do
but
you stick like sponges in your armpits too? Just, maximize absorption?
women have like dress shields for that, but I never went that far. No, because James, dude, I'm telling you, man, it's not just under my arms. Like my entire shirt and jacket are soaked when I'm done. My back, my chest, everything. I know this is one of the more attractive
I
conversations
can't
we've
imagine.
ever had.
It's fear. You're not smart enough to be afraid. So like, is it like the physical activity, or is it physically hotter up on the stage? What's going on there?
Yes and yes, and there is some anxiety too. Like I've never been completely comfortable doing what I do, which is why I was glad to not have to do it anymore. But no, man, I think I've told you the worst part of performing to me is the 10 minutes before stepping out in front of a crowd, because I am just killing myself with anxiety, pacing. And then when I'm out there, I'm way too tuned into who doesn't like me. It's a whole weird head screw that I put myself through.
Man, this could
But
be.
when I'm not on stage, like, I don't even sweat under my arms. Like, I don't sweat. It's a weird thing, but when I'm on stage, it just pours out of me.
Man, the things that are wrong with you when performing. That could be a whole nother episode. Unfortunately, I know you have stuff to get to today, sadly enough.
I do.
Next time.
Next time. All right. Well, we got to walk out of here, and I can't run or I'm going to be wet. So until we meet again, this is Steve the Sweater Olivas and James like a brick Breakwell saying thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for alliterating with me right at the end there. And until we meet again next week, where James and I come face to phone with you one more time. I almost said keep it between the white and yellow. I'm on the wrong show. 2 wrongs can make a right.